All right, so I'm gonna do something I haven't done, I think ever, and that's do a pour on camera. It won't be the way we normally do our pours for diamond casts, but really just to demonstrate the new resin that we've got on the website now. It's called Thermoset CSD2078. The company that makes it's Thermoset Solutions. They're based in Michigan. We had them come up with a resin for us that we needed to do for M3. That's our metal composite blanks. And since we already had them working on that, I asked if they could come up with something that could replace Clear Slow for us, just so we could get everything from one place. They worked on one resin for us. It was a little bit too fast. We asked for a little bit more open time, and this is what they came up with. It's got an 18-minute open time. The ratio on this is wrong. This was one of the test ones they sent us. It's just a 1-to-1 by weight, so super easy to do. You're still going to need a pressure pot. It is a urethane. Again, nothing that's water-based for pigments, but I'm going to demonstrate. We're going to use a little bit of everything here today to show you that it works with kind of everything on the market that you use today. Again, 18-minute open time, so you have lots of time. I do see, I think, better color separation. I can pour this as low as 85 degrees, and it seems like it works just fine. We're going to use a block mold that I had sitting around today that I have not used in some time. Hopefully I'll get the measurements right, because I haven't used it in so long. I honestly don't remember what it takes. So, got a little bit of everything. Let me put some of the A side in some cups for us. Switch it back to ounces. Been using grams. Haven't used this one in a while, so it's a little crusty. Someone asked about the shelf life. It is 6 months, stored reasonably well. Figure you probably want to store this at room temp, like all resins. I'm just going to go with 3 ounces. I think we'll probably have extra. Way too much for this block, but that's okay. It does come in smaller sizes than this. This is a gallon kit that we used for testing before we bought our 5 gallons. But you can get it in a 2-pound, a 4-pound, an 8-pound, or the 16. For folks that cast a little bit more that need the 5-gallon ones, we can send you straight to Thermoset to purchase those by the pallet if you want. A little bit different than Clear Slow. This is the one that tends to crust over, your side A, if you will. So one of the things I do is I'll just kind of wipe that down, usually just to keep it from getting stuck. So I know the B side with Clear Slow is the one we usually worry about with things sticking, but just a heads up, but this one is usually the A. Also, give these a shake before you use them. You really should do that with any resin, but stuff will occasionally settle out if you don't. All right, so we got some resin. We use a little bit of everything here. We got Braxton's pigments, we got Alumilite, even have some smooth on pigment. So we're going to do kind of a mix here just to show you that you can use pretty much whatever you have and you're using today. Braxton's white is probably the best white. It's just straight out white. Probably more than I need, but it will look a little different maybe than what you've seen. So you can see as it already starts to disperse in there. But it mixes in really easily. We got a pure white. I don't know, let's do blue, purple, and pink. Why not? It's one of my favorite colors. We use black diamond pigment, but again, any mica will be fine. This one is a little extra sparkly. We do like sparkles around here. And then Alumilite dye. Again, same thing. Works before, it'll work now. A couple of drops, all it usually takes. It's a little bit thicker than Clear Slow, so you'll notice if you like, I like to mix mine in A first just because it lets me tweak the color before I'm on the clock. But you can see, I mean, it disperses in there really well. Do something fun with the pink. This is called Liquid Fire. It's a two-tone that we like to use. Even your neon dyes, not a problem. A little heavy-handed with that. But feel free to combine mica with dye and everything else. Really, you can kind of get away with anything with this. As long as it's not a water-based pigment, you'll be okay. Let me see that two-tone. And then even a smooth on. We make pigments as well. Like these bottles, they do a really good job of controlled drops. That'd be good. And then maybe a little bit of sparkles. This is just some fine holographic flake. Maybe a little bit, and we'll just put a little bit in there. So it won't be diamond cast, but I'll just add a little bit of sparkle to it. All right, I think I like that. So usually what I do once I have my colors right, that's when I add my hardener. Again, it is 1-to-1 by weight, so keeps it easy. I've found that you can go plus or minus 5% and not have really any issues with it curing. Gives you a little bit of a safety net, so make sure you don't have issues with your pour. The B side on this will look a little bit yellow sometimes, especially if it's been open for a little bit. It does cure water clear, and there are UV blockers in it, so it does stay clear much longer. I need to post the test results on the website, but we do have lab tests for this where we compared it to Clear Slow, and it's substantially difference in how long this stays clear. Go, one more. But along with the fact that it stays clear, it's the same hardness. It can actually be a little bit harder if you heat cure it. I know most people don't. We use curing ovens here to get the most performance out of the resin we can, but it doesn't need to be heat cured. Normally we use a mixer, but it does mix easily by hand. You can see it's Not the same viscosity as what you're probably used to if you're using clear slow, once it's mixed anyways. Make sure you're scraping the sides when you're stirring. Other benefits of this one, the heat deflection temperature. That's basically the temperature at which it starts to bend under pressure. Clear slow is around 140. This is actually up at 160. And where that kind of comes into importance is when you're working it, you can work it a little bit harder, a little bit faster, and not have to worry about the heat bothering it. And then whatever your finished product is, you know, if you've got a pen and it's sitting in somebody's car, cars hit 140 degrees pretty easily. 160 buys you another 20 degrees of temperature before you have to worry about that finished product, you know, starting to warp. When you're shipping blanks in the summertime too, you don't want your blanks to show up and have them be curved. So that little extra heat deflection actually really helps there as well. Sands, polishes, pretty much like clear slow. Again, if you do clear stuff, it'll stay clear longer, which is nice. The only thing with that 18-minute open time, it does take a little tiny bit longer for it to get warmed up. So it does extend that time a little bit if you're looking for something fast. They do have a different formula of this that's the 1078. That's more of a 12-minute or 11-minute open time. I prefer to have a little bit more time to actually work with the resin, so that extra time for it to warm up isn't a huge deal. I'm going to wait until it hits about 85 degrees to pour, which is actually really low. I think I want to demonstrate that it does do a pretty good job of staying separated even at lower temperatures. And I think the colors are actually maybe a little bit clearer, but that's a bit of a subjective thing. A lot of people will wait till 100 degrees or so to pour clear slow. We usually do around 90 here because we pour pretty big batches. Alright, this should be good for a little bit. Fully compatible with mold release. We use Stoner. You can use a wax-based release or something else too, but I prefer to use the Stoner urethane mold release. A little bit goes a really long way, so you usually just have to barely hit it. And that should be enough. I like using the mold release, makes it easier to clean the molds afterwards. Things pop out easier, but no issues there. Also, for cleaning up the mess, we've tried different ones. This is what we use on our buckets after we use our buckets to clean them. There's also this one, which is like a citrus base, the A555. This does a really good job of cleaning up the uncured resin. So if you're trying to clear up your workspace, a case of this goes a really long way. We've been using this to clean it up, and it does a really good job with this. We kind of save this for the cleaning the buckets out after they're already cured. It's kind of the heavy duty stuff, but this works amazing when it's, even when it's cured, it kind of helps pull it off. So we're at 74. So you can see it's taken a while to get up to temp with this 18-minute. That's okay. We'll be happy we have the extra time once it warms up. Keep stirring it to speed it up. I had quite a few people ask me if there's any smell. There's not. Normally when I'm in here, I've got a respirator. Today I am working without my respirator, but there's really no smell to this at all, similar to other urethanes. So it definitely qualifies a low odor. Just noticing that cup has a crack in it. Be careful what we do with that one. Stick this in another one so we don't end up with a mess. There we go. And after I post this video, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in there and reach out to us. We have chat on the website, so you can always reach out there as well and get me. I think we covered most of the frequently asked questions on the product listing on the page, but there's always more. All right, we're at 76 and change. So, getting there. The only thing with this resin that I'd be careful about, all urethanes are sensitive to moisture. This one is a little bit more sensitive. Oh, we got another cracked cup. A little more sensitive than Clear Slow. Not a problem for basic stuff. You're fine with your pigments as long as they're not water-based. Your airlines should be okay. If you are using wood and you're doing hybrids, just make sure it's dry. Don't take wood that's been sitting out, on the counter for weeks and try to cast it. If you do that, you're probably going to end up with white or foamy spots, right next to the wood. As long as it's dry, you're in good shape. We've got a desiccant filter in line. Highly recommend. You can get them pretty cheap. Those are the ones that you can put the little beads in. Just put them on inline in your hose. That really does wonders for making sure you don't get too much moisture. Maybe you forgot to drain out your air compressor or something. That will catch that moisture before it makes it into the pot. Wouldn't say it's required, but it definitely makes a difference. All right, we're at 80 now, so starting to get a little warmer. Demold time on this is anywhere between 2 and 4 hours, kind of depends on the temperature. It looks like it is 71 degrees in here right now. So we could probably pull it after 2 or 3. Also depends on what you're casting. If you're doing a big block like this, that heat will kind of transfer to everything and it'll cure a little bit faster than if you're doing single blanks. So single blanks, you might want to wait to that 3 or 4 hours just to make sure they're not soft. If you're, somewhere around that room temperature range. We run 60 psi in our pots. You could cast with 40. I don't see any reason you have any problems. I mean, you can see, right? It's very thin. Should not be an issue. There's really no reason for most castings you would need more. You're really not going to get anything out of it. You can't compress liquid, right? The whole idea is to get the air out. When we do long tubes, we cast 24-inch long rods. For that, we'll use between 80 and 100, but for a block like this, there's really no reason you'd need anything more than 40. Some people worry about the pressure pots leaking. As long as it's got pressure for the hours before the demold time, you're fine. If it holds pressure for 4 hours, that's all you need. After that, the pressure's not doing anything for you. 82.5. All right. Should get there shortly. Yeah, so these are staying the same. Some resins you'll get different temps depending on what you've put in it. Some pigments can cause it to heat or cure faster if they react. The ones we're using today, whether it's the pigment from Braxton, the Alumilite dyes, or the Smooth On, they're all within 0.2 of each other. So they're all curing at the same rate. which is good if you like to use a mix like we do. We've poured probably about 1,200 pounds of this resin since starting it. Oh, we're at 86, so now a little warmer than I wanted. Have loved it, have had no issues with it at all. Turns great, polishes great. Everything about it has been great for us. So we are happy to be able to share it. I'm just going to do a bit of a random pour here. Feels weird pouring something that's not round. All of our blanks are usually round. Love that color. All right, we'll just be kind of slapdash with this. Just gonna go corner to corner just for fun. Really don't have to go this fast. With this 18 minutes, you really have a long time to work with this. So when you're playing with it, don't feel like you have to rush by any means. Get in there. Now remember, I'm starting this probably about 10 degrees cooler than most people start their pours with clear slow. And the reason I'm doing that is just to show you how well it does at keeping things separated and not getting muddy. I think I'm going to swirl this at all. I think once this cures, it's going to look pretty good. Of course, right about now I'm realizing that I haven't leveled any pressure pots because normally we don't have to worry about it with rods, but that's okay. Oh, I did not preheat this mold, so the instructions say to preheat the molds to 150. You really don't need to. If you preheat it, you'll get better fill out in the corners. It won't pull away from the corners as much. But aside from that, there's really no reason that you need to preheat it, especially for pen blanks. You're going to be trimming them up anyways. So you can if you want. If not, don't worry about it. Here's what our finished pour looks like. All the time in the world. Still have plenty of time. I didn't have to worry about it. We're at 95 degrees now. But you see the colors are separated nicely. They're not going to blend all together. We'll stick this under some pressure. In 2 or 3 hours, we'll pull it out. I'll slice it up and I'll share some photos of what it looked like afterwards. But that's basically it. It's 1-to-1. Again, higher heat deflection temperature, better UV protection. I think it keeps its colors separated better, and you have 18 full minutes to work with it, depending on your temperature, right? It will vary. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you guys.